My mom's boyfriend treated me like a servant in my own home. This is my house now. You should be grateful we let you stay. My mom and her boyfriend went on a fancy vacation, leaving me behind, but before they came back, I met with a lawyer. When they returned, they found out the hard way, it wasn't their house after all. Life before Lucas. It was just me and my mom. We weren't rich, but we had a house, one my dad left us when he passed away. It was small but cozy, and it was ours. Mom worked hard, juggling 2 jobs, and I helped by working part-time. Then she met Lucas. I disliked him right away. He acted like he was better than everyone, barking orders instead of asking nicely, but my mom? She was in love. Within 3 months, Lucas moved in. One day, I came home and found my dad's things packed away. Lucas was redecorating. I had a bad feeling, but I stayed quiet because mom seemed happy. Lucas takes over. At first, it was small things. He left dirty dishes for me to clean. He dumped his laundry in my room for me to fold. Then it got worse. One day, he snapped his fingers at me and said, "Clean this up, kid." Mom laughed it off, saying he was just playing, but he wasn't. Then he took my bedroom, saying it was too big for me. He turned it into his office and made me move into a tiny, musty storage closet. I argued. I reminded them that my dad left this house for us. That's when Lucas said something that made my blood boil. "This is my house now. You should be thankful we let you stay." I knew there was no point fighting. Mom wouldn't listen, so I waited. Because Lucas didn't know one important thing. The house was legally mine. The perfect moment. Lucas and my mom spent money they didn't have, buying expensive things and planning trips. Then came their big vacation, some fancy beach resort. Of course, I wasn't invited. "Someone has to stay behind and take care of the house," Lucas sneered. That was it. While they packed, I made a phone call. To a lawyer. Lucas's big mistake. Lucas thought he was in charge, but he never checked one important detail. The house was in my name. After my dad passed, Mom set up a trust so I would own the house when I turned 18. She knew, but Lucas never asked. He just assumed he controlled everything. While they were drinking cocktails on the beach, I was getting them evicted. Eviction day. As soon as their plane took off, I changed the locks and filed the eviction notice. Since Lucas wasn't paying rent, just mooching off my mom, he had no legal rights. When they came back, dragging their suitcases up the driveway, Lucas looked smug, until he saw the locks and the eviction notice taped to the door. He banged on the door. "What the hell is this? Open the door." I stood there, arms crossed. "Oh, sorry, you don't live here anymore." Mom looked at me, confused. "Honey, what's going on?" I handed her the paperwork. "I evicted him, and you, since you let him treat me like garbage, you can go live with him." Lucas started yelling, threatening to call the cops. I laughed. "Go ahead, tell them how you're breaking into a house you don't own." He froze. He had no power here, no rights, nothing. Then I turned to Mom. "You can stay if you want, but he's gone. Your choice." She looked at both of us, and I saw the truth hit her. Tears welled in her eyes. Then she dropped her suitcase. "I'm staying," she whispered. Lucas exploded, screaming, cursing, but it didn't matter. The locks were changed, the house was mine, and Lucas? He was out, luggage and all. The aftermath. He called my mom for weeks, begging her to take him back. She ignored him. Last I heard, he was living in a tiny, run-down apartment, still bragging about the house he almost had. And me? I slept peacefully in my dad's old room. My home was mine again. The night he came back, one night, Mom was working late, and I was home alone, half asleep on the couch. I heard something outside. Thump. Then another. Footsteps. My stomach twisted. I peeked through the curtain. Lucas. And he wasn't alone. A huge guy stood next to him. They whispered, looking around. Then Lucas pointed at the side door. I heard the doorknob rattle. They were trying to get in. I ran, grabbed my phone, and dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? 2 men are trying to break into my house, I whispered, my hands shaking. I gave them my address. The operator told me to stay put. But I wasn't going to just sit there. I grabbed a baseball bat from the closet. My heart pounded. Then, crash. Glass shattered from the side window. They were coming in. I gripped the bat so tightly my knuckles turned white. Then, without thinking, I did something reckless. I flipped on the lights. Lucas and his friend froze. They didn't expect me to be standing there, ready. What the hell are you doing, Lucas? My voice shook, but I didn't back down. He smirked. Just came to get what's mine. Mine. Even after everything, he still thought this house belonged to him. His buddy, a huge guy in heavy boots, stepped forward. I raised the bat higher. One more step, and I'll smash your skull in. For a second, nobody moved. Then, sirens. Red and blue lights flashed outside. Lucas's face twisted in panic. Run, he hissed at his buddy. They bolted. I ran to the front door and flung it open as 2 cops jumped out of their car, guns drawn. They went that way, I shouted. One officer chased after them. The other turned to me. Are you okay? Are you hurt? I was shaking so badly I could barely speak. That was my mom's ex. He's been stalking us. The cop's expression turned serious. We'll find him. The retaliation. The cops caught Lucas's buddy 2 blocks away. But Lucas? He disappeared. For days, I felt like I was being watched. Every time I left the house, I checked over my shoulder. My mom double-checked the locks every night. Then, one afternoon, she got a call at work. She came home pale, shaking. It was Lucas, she whispered. He said he's going to burn the house down. That was it. I had enough. If Lucas wanted to play dirty, I'd play worse. The final blow. I called my lawyer. How fast can we file a restraining order? 2 days later, it was official. If Lucas came near the house, he'd be arrested immediately. But I wasn't done. I hired a private investigator. I told him everything about the stalking, the threats, and the break-in. It didn't take long to find dirt on Lucas. Turns out, he had warrants, unpaid debts, shady business deals. And the best part? He was still using my mom's address on legal documents. That meant he was committing fraud. I took everything to the cops. And that's when Lucas's entire world fell apart. I thought the cops would grab Lucas, lock him up, and I'd never have to see him again, but nothing happened. Days passed, a week, no news. I called the detective on my case. He sounded tired. We're working on it, but he's slippery. He knows how to cover his tracks. That sent a chill down my spine. Lucas wasn't just some random loser. He was smart. He knew how to avoid the law. And worst of all, he was still out there, watching, waiting. The night it got worse. It was a Friday night. I was home alone again. My mom had taken a late shift at work, thinking Lucas was gone for good. I didn't believe it. Around midnight, I heard a noise in the backyard. Something heavy, not just wind or rustling leaves. I grabbed the bat and moved toward the back door. My heart pounded. Then, bang, the house shook. I ran to the kitchen window. The shed was on fire. Flames crawled up the wooden walls, thick smoke filling the night sky. My stomach dropped. Lucas did this. He actually did it. I scrambled for my phone, dialing 911. Fire. Someone set my shed on fire. The dispatcher said help was coming, but I barely heard them, because at the edge of the yard, I saw him. Lucas. Standing there, grinning like this was all a joke. I lost it. I ran outside before I could stop myself. What the hell is wrong with you? I shouted. He tilted his head, pretending to be surprised. Just cleaning up my property, kid. Smoke burned my lungs. The shed was done for. The windows shattered from the heat. This isn't your house. It never was. I snapped. Lucas just laughed. Then, in the calmest, scariest voice, he said, maybe, but if I can't have it, why should you? The firefighters and the proof. Fire trucks arrived, sirens blaring. I stood there, fists clenched, waiting for Lucas to run, but he didn't. He just walked away, calm, like he knew nobody could touch him. I watched as firefighters put out the flames. The shed was destroyed, but the scariest part? They found a burned gasoline can nearby. And my mom's secret security cameras caught everything. Lucas, the fire, his face. We finally had proof. Lucas gets arrested, but it's not over. The next morning, cops knocked on our door. We got him. They found Lucas at a motel an hour away. He wasn't laughing now. He was screaming about how the house was his, how I stole it, how I was going to pay. He was charged with arson, trespassing, and harassment. I thought it was over. Then, 2 days later, I got a call. We have a problem, the detective said. I sat up. What problem? A pause. Then, Lucas made bail. Nowhere is safe. My blood ran cold. How? He set a fire. He broke in. His lawyer said it wasn't premeditated. The judge granted bail. He's not allowed near you. But, be careful. Be careful. I hung up and tried to breathe. The house felt smaller. The walls were closing in. I checked the locks, the windows, the doors. It wasn't enough. Lucas wasn't done, and I knew, deep in my gut, he was coming back. The letter. 2 days later, my mom found an envelope on the porch. No stamp, no return address, just our last name, scrawled in sharp, jagged letters. Inside was a single piece of paper. See you soon. I stared at it, my pulse hammering. That smiley face, like this was all just a game to him. I looked at my mom. She was shaking. "We have to leave," she whispered. I swallowed hard. "No, we make him leave." I grabbed my phone and made a different call. Not to the cops, not to a lawyer. This time, I called someone who actually knew how to deal with people like Lucas, someone who wasn't afraid to get their hands dirty. When they answered, I only said 4 words. "I need your help." The plan. I barely slept that night. My mind wouldn't stop racing. What had I just done? The person I called wasn't a criminal, but they knew people who could handle problems when the law failed, and the law had failed us. I didn't know exactly what they planned to do. I didn't ask. All I knew was, we were going to catch Lucas in the act, and this time, he wouldn't be walking away. The trap. The next night, my mom stayed at a friend's house where she'd be safe. I stayed behind, pretending everything was normal. The house was dark, quiet. I sat in the shadows, waiting. Then, around 2 a.m., I heard it. Footsteps. Slow, careful. I clenched my fists. A shadow moved by the window. Lucas, and in his hand, I saw the glint of a knife. My heart pounded, but I stayed still. The doorknob turned. He thought I was asleep. He thought he could sneak in, do whatever he planned, and leave without a trace. But the second he stepped inside, the trap snapped shut. The fight is over. The hallway light flashed on. 2 men stepped out of the shadows, the guys I called. One grabbed Lucas before he could react, twisting his arm behind his back. His knife clattered to the floor. "What the? Let me go!" Lucas shouted, struggling, but they held him tight. I stepped closer, my hand steady for the first time in weeks. "You broke into my house," I said. "You brought a knife. You're done." Lucas's eyes darted between me and the men holding him. "You think this changes anything?" he sneered. "You think?" Then something happened. One of the men leaned in and whispered something to him. I didn't hear what he said. But I saw the moment Lucas's face changed. His smirk vanished, his body stiffened, and for the first time, he looked afraid. He stopped fighting. Moving on, for the first time in a long time, I wasn't scared. I wasn't waiting for the next attack. Because I had already won. The end.